YouTube, what's up? It's been a minute since I've made a video. Um, it is about 7 a.m. Central Time, and just felt the urge to get on here and just flow with you guys. Um, don't really have anything necessarily structured in. This is totally on the fly, totally off the cuff. Um, But I felt the urge to make this because I woke up yesterday to a series of LinkedIn notifications in that a lot of my former colleagues, leadership SVPs at the big tech company I'd worked for, middle management, SDRs who I coached and trained at this company, a lot of them got laid off without much of a warning. Massive riff, right? And it just reminded me of my decision to double down on pursuing and building something of my own. It almost just added fuel to the fire, where I'd kind of gotten a little stagnant, a little bit complacent. I know I was battling some headaches about 3 to 4 weeks ago. That's done and over with for now, knock on wood. But I'd kind of gotten in this level of complacency, somewhat lack of structure day to day. And when I saw all these LinkedIn notifications going off from all these connections that were getting laid off, it almost, in a way, inspired me to double down even more. I had a conversation with a good buddy of mine, and I was kind of throwing out the idea of possibly going back into corporate to stack more money, pay off all my debt. There's a little bit of debt I have, it's not a lot, but pay off everything, get this even bigger nest egg before doubling down on building my own thing. And he had a good point where he was like, and I know I've mentioned this before, where at this point in time, no wife and kids, all the time in the world. If you're going to do it, now's the time. And I was listening to an Alex Hormozy podcast, and he was sharing some of the same sentiment. And it's like the light bulb, just something was going off in my brain, in my gut, that I am on the right path in doubling down and doing my own thing solo, right? Solo as in I'm the entrepreneur, I'm the captain of my own ship. So I wanted to make this to inspire some of y'all out there that might be having doubts of maybe branching off and doing your own thing, or just kind of not doubling down on the goal. Trust and believe something's got to give at some point, whether it's the way you are currently running on whatever path, linear path you think you're on, whatever trajectory. But trust and believe that something is going to give, for the better or the worse. And it just reminded me when I saw those LinkedIn layoffs across the board, all types of positions. Like, I gotta really double down and get after this thing. And it reminded me also of what I've been harping on in some of the last few videos, of having other people control your destiny, and how that can be such a mental gut punch, demoralizing. And it's not always all bad, right? You can, like I said before in other videos, you can make a great living in corporate America. But the ones that are out there, you know what I'm talking about. Um, it's just something gnawing at our souls, at our brains, at our psyche. Every day we go to work, we're not necessarily bitter, but kind of feeling powerless and shackled, not being free to move in how we want to move. Right? Y'all can relate if you're one of those types of people. So I just wanted to make this real quick. And there was also another quote. And this one I actually wrote down this morning at 4 a.m. I just could not sleep for some reason. I've been sipping the coffee. I've been journaling. I've been writing out my goals again, trying to get more consistent and just looking at my goals and auditing everything more consistently. And this quote is by our guy, Mr. Alex Hormozy, again, himself. And a quote that I wrote down in my journal today. And I'll let this marinate with y'all for the rest of the week, the rest of the year, whatever. Hell is when you look at who you could have been and then you realize that you're not that person. Let me say it again. Hell is when you look at who you could have been and then you've realized that you're not that person. Right? Going back to living a life of regrets and you're on your deathbed. So that's my advice. My inspiration today is to lock in and go after what you want. You know. And then if you fail within the process, if you want to look at it of a failure, it's not even a failure, it's just a stop on the road, an obstacle. But if you fail, who you've changed throughout the process of that journey, or how you've changed within that process, that was worth the price of admission of the adventure, if you want to call it an adventure. And that's how I'm looking at pursuing some of my goals, kind of solo with that entrepreneurial spirit. It is an adventure, right? And even if you don't achieve said goal that you'd put from the onset, the man, the woman, whoever that you are, the process of the discipline, of the learning the new skills potentially, of pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, that process, if you went after it and you really gave it everything you had, that process was worth the price of admission in time, in the money you may have lost, and then it sets you up for the other big thing, right? So I'll leave y'all with that for today. Hell is when you look at who you could have been and you've realized you're not that person. Don't live a life of regrets. All right. Y'all have a blessed one. Take care.